everybody. So today I'm gonna go over how I wrote Now Sync off my new album Fiction. Let's just jump right into it. So it's probably kind of weird that I'm starting with the last song on the album. I think the main reason is because this one, it means a lot to me. There's a lot of things in this song that are super important to me. One being a feature from AJ Minette, who is probably the most influential guitar player / musician, writer, in my whole life, basically. The way that AJ infused classical and metal together pretty much influenced who I was instantly. Having him on a song is probably one of the biggest things that's ever happened to me, musically speaking. This song is basically about my relationship with anxiety. I know that probably sounds weird because there's no lyrics. How is it about that? Well, I try my best to write songs that evoke the feeling that I have when I'm feeling certain emotions. Whether it actually comes across that way is really up to the listener, but ultimately it helps me actually create these songs a little bit more authentically, and they come a little bit more natural that way, I think. Kind of the feelings I have with anxiety, but just in an instrumental track. So this might be kind of weird to start with, but starting with like after the intro, and it's basically just like a really nice sounding riff that's just kind of going, you know, it's going on about its day. The sound bit that we have right here.
Now, sink into the floor.
Bonus points if you know what movie that's from. I thought it was a very good representation of the feeling that I would get. It's just almost like a voice in the back of your head. It's just like, oh, you're thinking about this. Now sink into the floor. It's very random and it can happen at any moment. And I don't know if anyone else has these issues when it comes to anxiety, but it basically can like just the most random thing can just make you like just you're out of your head, and then you just kind of like have no control over these irrational fears or whatever. So basically what I want to do is just like really low doomy sounding H string, and then like a really crazy dip with the really pretty chord, but it just dips like hard. So and then we have the H strings. So that's basically like the synopsis of like how that goes about. Now, going back to the intro, this was written, basically I was having one of those like anxiety attacks, you know, and it will like kind of knock me out for like a few days, if that makes sense, like where I almost like can't be productive. It was like lasting a long time. It's literally at like 10 o'clock at night or something. And I was just so mad that I was still letting myself kind of succumb to this anxiety that I literally just like, I went in my room, picked up my guitar, didn't even check if it was in tune. Luckily it was. And I recorded this clean part right here. Like this clean part that you hear here is literally the first thing that I played, and I kept that exact one. And then I added these chords in there. So with those chords being added on top of that line, basically what's going on there is the Andalusian cadence, which is a chord progression that I use pretty often. I've used it on songs like Never Enough, the chorus for King. It's just a very cool progression that sounds very emotional, but it also has that epicness when you get to that 5 chord to kind of pull back and give it that, I guess, staccato flavor, if you will. But it still has that like emotional response to it that I get. Once I started getting that going, I was like, oh, this is actually kind of cool. I like this. So I just started jamming some like riffy stuff on top. So basically I was just kind of like, you know, something like that. And eventually I kind of chipped away at it and then found this really cool rhythm that I liked on top of that. I had to add that chromatic run up. It was just, I thought it sounded so cool. Then I wrote this melody. The song is basically playing that melody multiple times throughout the song, but they're just played differently, whether another instrument's playing that melody or I'm playing that melody in a lead form or a riff form. Then we have this. Those two together. And I thought that was like a really fun thing to do, was just basically drone that Andalusian cadence throughout the song and kind of have it as a driving force that I can just dance on top of and ornament it any way I want. Coming back to that, so the feeling that I have after like more or less anxiety is like, it's like a gray area of like, I feel better, but it's not entirely there yet. And that's what this riff is. It's basically a lo-fi version of it, and it's almost like how I would feel, like a little bit more lo-fi, where it's like, yeah, I'm there, but it's not quite there. And then basically like I become myself again. It's full EQ, full Charlie, if you will. That's almost the equivalent of kind of what went on over here in this beginning area, where I actually was like kind of in the gray area and was writing, and then as the song started coming together, I forgot about all my problems and like the full Charlie came out and I started writing the song. So it's really weird how it's like an inception of itself almost. Like the song is about this, and in turn I was also going through those similar emotions while writing it. So now we get to AJ's part, which was very surreal to actually hear. Like I've heard his playing in my headphones for so many years, and to hear it on a song of mine was pretty surreal. Hearing his acoustic parts just took me back to when I was a kid listening to like, you know, Nocturne or Digital Veil. Here's this part just by itself. So as you can see, I had like a spot laid out for him. We have the chords right here. So we're like on the same page and everything. That way I can also bounce some ideas off what he wrote. But yeah, we had this whole thing laid out for him to kind of, you know, go for it and have fun with it. And then it comes up to his solo, which I think is one of the best solos I've ever heard in my life. I know that probably sounds biased because it's on my song, but I genuinely, if I heard this song on like one of a Human Abstract record, I would have been like, that is my favorite solo. And then we have my solo, which is literally just that melody that I was telling you about. Dun, 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 dun. I basically wanted that to be just like the full like accumulation of all those melodies that you heard, which was like either in the background or a riff version of it that it was a little diluted with some shreddy parts. You can finally hear it like full blown, just the melody. Now to top it off, AJ also added some harmonies on top of that, which was, I mean, I'm just gonna keep saying it. Like, he's just like incredible. He's like such a good musician and very musical that I'm like blown away. So good. And then together with my lead, it's like so crazy. He does his solo and I do my solo and he adds his harmonies on top and it's just like this huge rush of melody. Like, I really wanted it to just kind of be pure expression. AJ brought that to life. It's incredible what he can do. And then, so basically, I think when I sent him the song, that was the end of the song right there. And I wanted it to kind of come back, like the H string that comes back. The thought behind that was kind of I can be good and come back to normal and feel good, and then it comes back sometimes even harder and slower in this case. And, you know, it's kind of like at the end of a movie, you know, you think it's over and then like the final boss is still alive, you know. So yeah, that's how I wrote the song Now Sync with AJ, and I'm so glad you're all enjoying it. I've spent a lot of time on this, whether it's from the mix, the master, the writing, the recording of it, all of it. Spent so much time perfecting it to exactly what I want. And if you want more videos like this where I break down the songs, just let me know. I'd be more than happy to do so. And yeah, thank you. I can't thank you enough. And I'll see ya.